A couple of stories caught my eye, including your column, Nolan, that you wrote talking with the police chief in Detroit about wrongful imprisonment and things that they want to change about investigations.
Yeah, I said it on a meeting with the police chief, a meeting the chief called with Dave Moran of the U of M Innocence Clinics, which has been working it works to free people who are wrongly convicted. They've had a heck of a time getting Wayne County to respond to evidence that people were wrongly jailed. And the police chief sat down this week and said, I'm going to give the full resources of this department to help the Innocence Clinic figure out, look at the evidence, test the evidence, and figure out if we have locked up people who shouldn't be in jail. It's a major step. Moran said it would take years off the process of proving innocence, and I don't think any of us want to think about somebody who didn't do a crime being locked up for 10, 20, 30 years.
Does it kind of bring up still the skirmish between the police chief and the Wayne County prosecutor a little bit?
Absolutely does. I mean, of all the prosecutors in the state, she's been the most obstinate. She has never admitted her department has made a mistake, even when the courts have said, overturned convictions and said someone else did it. I mean, she just digs her heels in and says...
I would not, I think, put her in a single category of singularity.
None of them are great.
They are all really, I mean, the hardest thing with a prosecutor is to get them to admit when they've made mistakes. Yeah. The Attorney General of this state is one of the people who is really difficult to convince that that innocence matters as much as it does. He doesn't want to go back and open up cases for old crimes too. This is a cultural thing with prosecutors that we got to address across the state, and I agree that Kim Gourley has been a glaring example.
No, you're exactly right, but I thought it was very admirable on the chief's part to say, if we made a mistake, we can say we made a mistake.
Right.
But you know, if we also want to know, if we made a mistake, it also means the person who did do it is still out there, and we want to get that person.
Well, speaking about admitting about you've made a mistake, or at least maybe a court saying that you've made a mistake, we had that settlement with Flint this week, $87 million to replace some pipes, but also some mandated checks in terms of filters and whatnot. But I still looked at the $87 million, and it makes me say, is it really enough?
Well, it's enough to replace the pipes, right? And there's going to be a dispute, I think, over lawyers' fees in this at some point too, like how much of that money will go to that, and I mean that's always a deal with lawsuits. But it's not enough to do all of the things that need to be done in Flint. Think of all the money that you're gonna have to pay to take care of the kids there who've
That's
been
what
poisoned.
I'm really thinking
about. I keep talking about, think about the people, if you were a homeowner in Flint, this mistake essentially wiped out all the value you have in your house. You couldn't sell your house today for $1. I think there's some liability there on the state's part that could cost us all a lot.
You know, one of the things we have happening in Flint is money is flooding in there, and I think putting some checks and on that money, given the city's history, I mean, it had got into financial trouble for a reason in the first place, and they have had some corruption issues over the years. There's accusations floating around now, you know, of money being misused and directed toward cronies. So I think watching the money is a good thing. But the other problem we have in Flint, they got $100 million from the feds. They've got to spend that, I think, over the course of 18 months, or it goes back. They don't have a plan to spend that.
It's hard to do that.
You can't spend that much money based on the plan they have. They can do about 6,000 homes a year, and that's nowhere near going to get you to the $100 million. So the risk here is that the money won't get spent to replace the pipes. It'll go back to Washington, and the pipes will still be in the ground.
Well, that's a process. A couple minutes left. You're sad about the Red Wings. I know you're a huge hockey fan.
That's why I actually am. Don't make fun of me.
Oh, I will make fun of you, but that's okay.
25 years, that streak of them going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
We got 4 Stanley Cups out of it. I'm excited about the new arena, which is, you know, walking distance from my house, but sad that they'll have to
charge
start
for
on
parking spaces out.
Yeah, right. That's right.
So if you see Stephen with the flag out there saying, park right here, wing it in. And then you guys apparently had a little bit of fun last weekend without me, which is fine, but we have the video to prove it. about the
The
name.
Marche de Nain Rouge.
Yes, the Marche de Nain Rouge. So why don't you go ahead and explain what you guys were doing out there?
I was being the oldest white guy at the parade. I don't know what Steve was doing.
We're singing, which we did to open the festival,
We
which
were
is
quite good.
an annual sort of, it's a Mardi Gras type celebration, I guess, in the city with the parade.
Yeah, it's become a very
Revelry,
interesting tradition to drive the Nain Rouge out of Detroit.
If we can get a close-up, Steve had a nose ring.
I did not.
We were the only ones who did.
Yeah, I don't think that we can hear that video anymore. I don't think I want to hear any more singing. Nice job, guys. All right. Well, finally tonight, the Detroit Free Press Film Festival is this weekend, and among the films being shown is The Ethanol Effect. It's a production of Detroit Public Television, taking a look at the environmental and political costs of growing and refining corn for ethanol in America. Go ahead, take a look.
The big question is, does ethanol help the planet or hurt it? Studies, lots of scientific studies. But who to believe? First, does it take more energy to make ethanol than we get out of it? There's the energy spent on irrigation, the water, all that water, 25 to 50 gallons just to grow 1 ear of corn. There's the fertilizer made using fossil fuels, applied by tractors powered by fossil fuels. Then there's the ethanol plant, usually powered by coal or natural gas. Then move all that ethanol to the oil refinery. How clean and green is ethanol then? On the other side, the pro-ethanol folks say the critics keep forgetting about the distiller's grain, the byproduct that makes, they say, some great animal feed. That deserves an energy credit for all the food it's adding back into the system. And besides, just like a lot of conservation-minded people, they're finding new ways to make their operations more energy efficient every year. Now let's talk about the carbon problem. Here's a field. Let's consider it virgin prairie. If you're counting your carbon, that's a carbon sink. It absorbs carbon dioxide, and that's good. But if you're converting an acre of, say, prairie grass to a cornfield, taking a plow to it releases lots of carbon dioxide. The cornfield grabs some of the carbon, but it'll be years before it can capture it all back again. In defense of the farmers, no-till farming and winter cover crops help keep more carbon in the ground. Researchers generally agree ethanol does help bring down tailpipe emissions. How much? It depends on what study you want to believe. And no matter what you're driving, you're still leaving some kind of carbon footprint. The bottom line, more ethanol, the way we do it now, means more corn, which means more carbon. And that contributes to climate change.
All right, and for more information on the film festival, just head to our website, myweek.org. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you come back and see us again next Thursday. Take care.
That corn could be going into